Hello dear viewers, a very warm welcome to our channel. It's very good to have you here. In this video we are going to have a look at application of the parking brake on a rear drum wheel assembly. The parking brake is there for keeping the vehicle stationary once it is parked. It can also serve as an emergency brake in case the hydraulic brake or the main brake system fails. Now let's have a look at some of the basic operating principle of the parking brake. Right here you can see a cutout of a drum brake assembly, a leading trailing type brake drum assembly. This is the leading shoe. Assuming that vehicle is moving to this side, when moving to the front, this is the leading shoe. And right here we have the trailing shoe. So this is a leading trailing type brake shoe assembly. We have a pivot on the lower side. This is a pivot for the leading shoe. And this is the pivot for the trailing shoe. And we have the tough return spring. There are also hold down assembly, and we have linkage and anti-rattle spring. Now when we look at the parking brake, right here we have the parking brake handle, and here is the lock mechanism for the parking. When you press it right here, pressing right here will activate the lock mechanism. This is the lock mechanism for the parking brake. In order to disengage the ratchet, you have to press right here. You have to press this down. When you press this down, it will disengage from the ratchet. And moving on this handle, we'll pull this cable. This is the parking brake cable, so moving the handle will move and tighten the parking brake cable. Now there is no tension on the parking brake cable, but when the handle is pulled up, see? When the handle is pulled up, it will stretch this and apply the parking brake. Now parking brake is applied, there is no way of moving it. Now how does the parking brake apply? If you look closely right there, here is the parking brake cable. Right here we have the parking brake cable that passes through the backing plate, and then it comes this way and it will have a linkage right here. The white part is the parking brake linkage. Look what will happen to that linkage when I pull the parking brake. See? When it is pulled, when the parking brake cable is pulled, it will pull this lever to this side. Now, this lever has a pivot right here. See what happens. It has a pivot right here, and when the parking brake is pulled, this linkage will move to this side on the lower side. Moving to this side, it will push this linkage. This linkage is connected to the leading shoe. So when this parking brake linkage is moved to this side, it will act on this lever, and this will push the leading shoe to the brake drum side. See what will happen. When this is moving, it will push this link, and that link will push the leading shoe against the brake drum. So that is the first part of the parking brake application. So the parking brake application comes in two parts. One, this linkage will move to this side, and it will act on this dry bar, and that will push the leading shoe onto the drum. Once the leading shoe has come in contact with the drum, there will be no further motion from the leading side. So what will happen? This lever will stop moving to that side. When it stops moving to that side, but still parking brake is being applied, then the white lever will have a pivot on this lever, and then this end will move to this side. This end will move to this side, pushing the trailing shoe onto the drum. Look, closely watch. Now the leading shoe is moved. This linkage has now traveled because the leading shoe is in contact with the drum. Now see what will happen. Further travel. This one is still not in contact. You can see there is a slight gap between the trailing shoe and the drum. There is still a slight gap, but there is no gap between the leading shoe and the drum. The leading shoe has already in contact with the drum, but the trailing shoe has a little opening. Further pulling the parking brake cable will move this to this side, and when that happens, because this is prevented from moving, the white lever will pivot on here and it will move to this side on the upper end. See what will happen. See? Now the trailing shoe has also become in contact with the drum. Now both leading shoe and trailing shoe are in contact with the drum. Parking brake is applied, so it will keep the whole assembly stationary until this cable, the parking brake cable, is released. The parking brake cable has stretched. Until that tension is removed and it is released, it will remain in such a fashion. But when the parking brake is released, the whole assembly will return. The brake shoes are returned by the return springs. The return springs will move it closer. That will disengage the parking brake, and the parking brake cable will become free again. So this is the principle of operation of a parking brake on the rear drum brake assembly. Now parking brakes usually fail when there is a problem with the linkage, either when there is a problem with the linkage of the hand lever, when the ratchet assembly is not working properly. Over time this might be damaged. Now when this is damaged, it will no more keep the parking brake lever in a stationary position. And the other problem is when there is a problem with the tension of the adjustment of the parking brake cable. When there is a problem with the parking brake cable, when the length of the parking brake cable is not properly adjusted, it will prevent it from applying the parking brake properly. So these are some of the most common problems that happen on parking brake. Usually it is linkage related problems that is affecting parking brakes. So this is the principle of operation of a parking brake, and these are some of the things that might go wrong on parking brake. Well, dear viewers, that is all we have for you regarding principle of operation of a parking brake and some of the troubles that might happen on parking brake. If you like this video, please smash the like button. If you are new here, do consider subscribing and turn on notification so that you will be the first to get notified whenever we come up with another video. Until then, stay safe.